correctly, Ms. Hang, speeding on a city highway?
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right. This is an initial appearance night, so thank you for appearing by phone. We take pleas tonight. You're basically, your plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty. But what I'm gonna do right now, let me just open up your file and I'll have some, I'm gonna review some information with you. So it's gonna take a little bit. Okay. I'm a little rusty. We haven't had court in a while, so I apologize. Let me X out of all this. Okay. Okay, Mary?
Yes.
It's giving me all kinds of new passwords to access the accounts. So I don't know. I've never had these passwords before. That's what it was. To get onto the system, I was actually able to bypass it. But if I try and access the reports, it has a username and a password. And I type what I normally do, but it didn't work.
Oh, I have, John is here, so I'm trying to.
Okay.
Are you hearing any of that?
Yeah, I don't, what, trying to get into.
Into his file, his folder.
Yeah, Windows security. I keep getting enter my credentials to connect.
Your Honor, do you have that password that I gave you?
Was that, you mean on my tape to my computer, or is it a new one?
New one.
Oh. I don't think I had that one.
Let me log in.
Okay.
My husband is the IT director for the city, so that's why we're working from home, so he has all that information. This is not normally how it works.
Okay.
Judge,
Yes.
do you want me to give you the information about the tickets? So
Yeah, why don't we do that? So while we're waiting to do that. So sorry, Miss Hanks, just
No problem.
it's a residual of being hacked a couple weeks ago. So all kinds of protocols put in place. Okay. Do you want to confirm your address for me?
4027 East Tower Road, McFarland 53558.
Okay. And so you received the speeding citation. Mary, what's the limit over?
I'm just pulling it up here. 1 to 10.
Oh, okay. Okay, so,
Yeah, and 10 over.
so Ms. Hang, you were
Yes.
you were cited for 10 miles an hour over the limit. That citation carries a penalty of 3 demerit points issued your driver's license. What happens with your driver's license is you're permitted to accumulate up to 12 for a year. Once you get 12 or more, then what happens is that your license is then suspended. 1 to 10 is 3, 10 to 19 is 4, and 20 plus is 6. Now, as far as the points go, let's see, the forfeiture, I bet, should be, you probably received the forfeiture. Let's see if I get it right, Mary.
Okay. I was gonna tell you.
See if I get it right.
Okay.
The forfeiture should be listed at 98.80. Is that correct? Okay. That's
Correct.
actually, speeding citations range from $30 to $300 plus costs. The state mandates we add costs to your forfeiture, jail and crime lab, etc. So the minimum forfeiture is actually the 98.80. You're already at the minimum. I could go maximum for up to $300, but for 1 to 10, I've never gone up on a speeding citation. So do you understand what a speeding citation is?
I understand.
Okay. And now normally what I do is I offer a 10-mile-an-hour leeway. What I would do for this one would be, hang on, I keep getting pop-up windows. What I would do for this one is that I would give you a 10-mile-an-hour leeway. I would reduce it to what's called defective speedometer. Now that it's an equipment violation, but that'd be a 2-point violation instead of 3. If you were to go to, if you were to enter a not guilty plea and see the prosecutor would most likely give you the same type of offer. Prosecutors give it leeway, the same that they would do at a pretrial conference. So, do you understand that I give a 10-mile leeway, and if you were to enter a no contest or guilty plea tonight, I would reduce it to defective speedometer?
Can you repeat that, Your Honor?
Sure, I'm going a little fast. So, so basically, tonight we take pleas. Your 3 plea options would be to enter a not guilty plea, and I would have you talk with the prosecutor before it got to a trial. And the second option would be to either plead a no contest or a guilty plea, but the citation would be for defective speedometer. That means your speedometer wasn't working properly. And instead of the 3-point citation received for the speeding 1 to 10, the defective speedometer would cost you 2 points. Again, the forfeiture would be $98.80.
Okay, correct.
Does that make more sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
No questions.
Okay. Now's the time I take your plea. What would your plea be to defective speedometer, 2 points, and a forfeiture of $98.80?
I'll plead guilty.
Okay. You understand with a guilty plea, I must find you guilty?
Excuse, say that again.
I'm going to
No.
find you guilty. I
Yes.
just be making you aware of that. Okay.
Correct.
All right. You know what? When this password comes up, I'll review the report. I'll confirm that it will be that there's sufficient basis for a plea. I'll accept your guilty plea and find you guilty. Now, the forfeiture, you've been found guilty of defective speedometer. Marion, the statute number is 34741.
Right, I have that.
Okay, so that's 2 points. Forfeiture is $98.80. Do you need any time to pay that?
No, I'll be fine.
I'll give you 30 days. If you need more time than that, just my assistant Mary Geemsa's number is on the letter to the court. If you can just call that and ask for additional time.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
I'll send her a notice too.
Okay.
That information.
Thank you.
Yep. And once you get the notice, just feel free to pay it, and that will take care of it then.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for me?
No questions. Thank you.
All right. That will take care of it for this evening. And thank you, Ms. Hang, especially
Yeah.
for your patience.
Thank you. All right. No problem. Bye-bye.
I even remembered to print out my list this time, so.
Very good. All right, the next person. Sierra Wade. Uh-oh, it looks like we lost her. She had been here, but she left.
Okay.
So Justin Stewart is the next one.
Okay. Hi, is this Justin Stewart?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is Judge Matt Rothie. You're in live on Stoughton Municipal Court. We're conducting it via Zoom. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay. You have two citations. One is for operating while under the influence of an intoxicant, and the second is operating with a prohibited alcohol concentration. Do you understand the nature of both these citations?
Yes, I do.
Okay. First of all, why don't you confirm your address for me?
517 Laram Lane.
What city?
Oh, Stoughton, Wisconsin, 53589.
Okay. So you received two citations. Operating while under the influence is what's known as first offense drunken driving. Now, let me kind of review the penalties for an OWI. The operating while intoxicated, the elements are that you were operating or manipulating the controls of a vehicle on a public road or premises held out to a public use while you were under the influence of an intoxicant. The prohibited alcohol concentration just means that you had an alcohol level above the legal limit in Wisconsin, and for a first offense, that's 0.08. You understand these elements?
Yes.
Okay, and let me explain tonight. Tonight, we're here to take a plea. I'll review the rest of the penalties first, but the plea options you basically have is guilty, no contest, or not guilty. Guilty means that you're admitting your guilt and you just want to end it tonight. No contest means you don't want to admit your guilt, but you want to just resolve it tonight as well. In both cases, I'll find you guilty and impose the appropriate forfeiture. And then if you believe that you're not guilty or the city could not prove their case, or you want to talk to a prosecutor, you can enter a not guilty plea. What I do with a not guilty plea is I schedule the matter with you in a pretrial conference via Zoom in a few weeks. So do you understand the guilty, no contest, or not guilty pleas?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Next, let's discuss more of the operating while under the influence citation. So this is a citation that OWI first covers the following penalties. It's a forfeiture of $150 to $300. However, they add a lot of cost to it, and the forfeiture range is usually about $750 to about $950. I don't have your citation in front of me, but that's probably, you're probably in that, about in the middle of that range. You're probably like $868 or so.
Yes.
Okay. Mary, what's the exact amount of the citation?
861.
Okay, so I'm fairly close. All right, so that's the penalty. So I can go up a little bit or I can go down a little bit. Now, if you're found guilty of an OWI, operating while under the influence of an intoxicant, I abbreviate it to OWI. Your driver's license will be suspended for a period of between 6 to 9 months. Okay, and then in addition, you have to pay for a forfeiture, like I said before, and then you have to attend an alcohol and drug assessment class, and then 6 points are assessed against your driver's license. Now, with the driver's license revocation, 6 to 9 month range is dependent. I usually use the following range. If you're under a 1.5, I usually give you 6 months. If you're between a 1.5 and a 1.99, I give you 7 months. And a 0.2 or higher is 8 months. If there's any bad driving, I add another month revocation period for that. So in other words, if you're a 0.24 and got in an accident, I'll give you the maximum 9 months. So that's how I derive the 6 to 9 month driver's license revocation. Okay, you understand that so far?
Yes, sir.
All right. If you're found guilty, the assessment is mandatory along with the 6 points. In addition, if your blood alcohol content is 0.15 or higher, the state requires me to mandate that you insert what's called an interlock ignition device into your vehicle. An interlock ignition device, I don't know, is a tube that you blow in, and you have to use that in order to start the car. In addition, when you're driving down the highway, sometimes the IID will require you to blow in it randomly. So the IID is a $50 surcharge. In addition, the IID, you have to install it at your own expense. And if you're above a 1.5 or higher, I must order that an IID be installed for a period of 12 months. And that will be for all vehicles you drive and all vehicles. There's a requirement, any vehicle you drive, you'd have to have that IID, and any vehicles registered in your name, you also have to an IID installed. Do you understand what an IID is and my requirements?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the second citation is operating with a prohibited alcohol concentration. Now, with the prohibited alcohol concentration, those are the same penalties as the OWI. The 861, the 6 to 9 month revocation, AODA requirements, and 6 points. However, I can find you guilty of both. However, I can only set penalties on one of the citations. In other words, if you have a forfeiture of 861, that's it, plus the $50 surcharge. It's not going to be $1,700. It's going to be about $850 to $900. Do you understand that?
Okay, yes.
Okay, good. So I've covered the forfeiture range and the nature of the citations, and the IID and all the other penalties. Do you have any questions for me?
How soon can I apply for an occupational license?
When you're found
Yeah,
guilty, you
this
can
is the
apply for
first
an
time for
occupational
me.
license right away.
Okay, all right. I was just wanted to make sure because this is the first time for me.
I get
I'm
it.
very new to this, and
Right.
I don't.
Right. If there had been a refusal, you have to wait a few days, but since this isn't a refusal because you received both citations, so you're eligible for an occupational license right away. And there's occupational license limits that we can send you, but you're limited to, you can only use an occupational license for driving to work, to school, or to church, and it has to be within defined hours,
Okay, yes.
and no more than 60 hours a week, essentially.
Okay.
And if you're interested, then we can send you a pamphlet on the occupational license as well.
All right, that would be lovely.
Okay. Any other questions for me?
Nope, that would be it for me.
Okay. Now is the time that I will take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
Guilty.
Okay. You understand with a guilty plea, I must find you guilty?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to review the police report tonight. I just want to I don't have it in front of me because of a computer glitch, but I'll review it just to make sure that the city was able to meet its burden. Mary, what was the prohibited alcohol concentration?
1, 2.
Okay. Was there any, there's no other citations, so I'm going to assume that there was no accident. So, okay, Mr. Stewart, you're at a 1-2. So I found you guilty. Anything you'd like to say before I decide on a sentence?
All that is to be said is that this is going to be the first and the last time you guys will ever hear from me. I'm very sorry to the officer that had to deal with me that night, and that I apologize for my actions, and that it will never happen again.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. So what I'm going to do is, since you're at a 1-2, I'm going to sentence you to the minimum penalties for the driver's license revocation. I'm going to sentence you to a 6-month driver's license revocation. I'm going to keep the
Okay.
face amount of the citation at 861. You'll have to attend an alcohol and drug assessment class, and 6 points will be assessed against your driver's license. Since you are below a 1.5, I will not order an interlock ignition device be installed in your vehicles. So you won't have to worry about that requirement or the $50 surcharge.
Okay.
Now,
Thank
you told me your address before. We're going to mail you in what's called some driver safety information. There's going to be a number to call. You're required to sign up for an assessment within 72 hours of receiving that notice.
They're
Okay.
not applying to that anymore because they are also working remotely. So
Okay.
they've kind of loosened that up. I've heard from them.
Okay, so when you get it, call the assessment and schedule it, but we don't have the onerous 72-hour requirement like we used to. But make sure that you sign up, because in order to get your your occupational license now and your regular driver's license back, you're going to need to complete the assessment and the required follow-up, and it's called the driver safety plan. You're going to need to complete that.
Okay.
We'll send you the assessment form. We'll send you some information on occupational license. As far as the $861 goes, how much time do you need to pay?
I can pay as soon as I can.
Well, how long is that?
Like, I could pay tomorrow.
No. Would 30 days be sufficient?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Okay, I'll give you 30 days to pay. If for whatever reason you find out that that's not going to work, there'll be a number to call on the documents you received. Call back, and my clerk's name is Mary. Just indicate that you need more time, and I'd be happy to grant more time to pay.
Okay, thank you.
Because my only option if you don't pay is to suspend your driver's license even longer, and I'd rather not do that. So rather work
Oh,
something
no,
out.
trust me.
You can pay. Okay. All right, so you'll get the assessment information in the mail and occupational license. We'll mail it to you. Make sure that you pay your forfeiture within 60 days. It'll be 861. Send the assessment, 6 points. I think that covers it from my end. Do you have any other questions for me?
I do not.
Okay, we'll send you the forms. If that triggers any questions, there'll be a number for you to call.
Okay, thank you.
I hope to never see you with it. Well, next OWI will be criminal, so I wouldn't see you anyway. But I hope you're sincere, and I hope that you don't have another OWI for the rest of your life.
I do not. Trust me, this was already scary enough, and it was
fair
just
enough.
a stupid mistake.
Right. Fair enough then. So, okay, that covers all the things I needed to cover with you. You can go ahead and hang up.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Stewart.
Oops. Okay. Oh, Sierra is back. Sierra Wade.
Okay. Hi, Miss Wade.
Hi there.
Thank you for being patient with us. I had some technical difficulties earlier then, so.
No worries. I understand. It happens all the time.
All right, now, so we're here for initial appearances for Stoughton Municipal Court. We're appearing obviously via video Zoom. So we take pleas tonight, and your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty. Guilty means that you're admitting your guilt, and that you will basically, I'll find you guilty with a guilty plea. A no contest plea means that you're not admitting guilt, but you want to resolve it tonight. And I'll find you guilty and impose the penalties. A not guilty plea means that you don't believe that the city could either prove your case or that you didn't commit the citation as alleged. Normally what I do for not guilty pleas, I schedule the matter for a pretrial conference with the city attorney and you. If you can't reach resolution, then it's scheduled for a trial. And the conference is usually also being held via Zoom.
Okay.
You understand all that so far?
Yep.
Okay, good.
I got it.
All right, is the address on your citation, is that your current address?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. So you were cited for speeding on a city highway. Now, because of technical glitch, I don't have it in front of me. Mary, what was the, what type of speeding citation was it?
11 to 15 over.
Okay. So, Miss Wade, there are 3 types of citations for speeding. There's 1 to 10 over, which is 3 points. There's 11 to 19 over, which is 4 points. And there's 20 plus, which is 6 points. You can allow to accumulate up to 12 points on your driver's license. Once you get 12, you receive a citation, or your license is then suspended for a number of months. All right, so in those tiers, let's see, I don't have the forfeiture in front of me, but I bet it's $124 forfeiture.
98.80.
Oh, 98.80. Okay. The forfeiture ranges from $30 to $300. You're at $30 plus cost. You're actually already at the minimum citation for a speeding case. So, well, what I do for speeding citations is the following. So, I basically give a 10 mile an hour leeway. So instead of 11 to 15 over, I would reduce this to 1 to 10 over, which would be 3 points instead of 4. The reason being is that if you appeared and entered a not guilty plea and went to and had a meeting with the prosecutor would likely make the same offer. So the prosecutor has given me permission to give a 10 mile an hour leeway just to save for time and efficiency then. So in your case, that's what I would do. It would be 1 to 10 over, which would be 3 points instead of 4. Same forfeiture of 98.80. And normally I grant 30 days to pay the forfeiture as well. Okay. Do you understand how I give a 10 mile an hour leeway?
Yes, I understand.
Okay. Now, do you have any questions for me?
I don't think I have any questions so far.
Okay, good. So now is the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty to the amended citation of 1 to 10 over.
Oh, then I do have a question.
Yes.
So, is there any part of this discussion where I explain what was happening from my perspective?
That's what I was trying to say. I have her plea sheet scanned in for you, but he's not able to access
see.
that file.
Right.
That's right. So
Right. Right.
If you want to.
So normally what happens, if you want to explain it to me, the city prosecutor's not here. And so I can't, if you give me information before you take your plea, that would be called an ex parte conversation, ex parte, P-A-R-T-E, Latin for without the other side being present. And I wouldn't be able to hear the case then. So
Oh,
if you enter a no
okay.
contest or guilty plea, then I can listen to what you have to say. Otherwise, I can only offer you the 10-mile-an-hour over 1 to 10 over the limit.
Thank you for answering my questions.
Yeah, sure, exactly. So any further questions?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, now is the time I take your plea. Guilty, no contest, or not guilty?
A no contest.
Okay, you understand with a no contest plea, I must find you guilty?
Yes, I understand.
All right, let me read the police report. Well, actually, can't believe the police report, but what I will probably tell Mary do, what does the plea sheet essentially say?
She's not from the Stoughton area and was not familiar with where the speed limit changes. She was about half a mile from where it changes and didn't realize the limit extended all the way to the county road.
Okay, and that's perfectly understandable, Ms. Wade. That's kind of why I give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway, especially for certain circumstances like this. So, and what I'll do, I'll accept your no contest and plea and find you guilty. Is there anything else you like to tell me?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so that's part of the reason why I like to give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway, that it covers situations like yours. Maybe you weren't familiar with the road, maybe you weren't familiar with Stoughton, et cetera. So, and then by reducing it to 1 to 10 over, it goes from speeding intermediate to simple speeding. If your insurance company pulls your records, it looks much better to have a 1 to 10 over than the 11 to 19. So that also helps as well. So, okay, so I will reduce it to 1 to 10 over, 3 points, same forfeiture of $98.80. Do you need time to pay?
No, I can submit payment. Is it possible to do that online?
I'll have Mary send you a notice. I'll give you 30 days to figure out how you're going to pay.
Okay, thank you. That'd be
Does that
great.
work, Mary?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any questions for me?
I don't think so.
We'll send the notice out to you. Take a look at it and then call with any questions.
All right, thank you so much, Judge.
All right. Thank you. That'll cover it for tonight, and you can go ahead and hang up.
Okay, bye, Mary.
All right.
Amen.
Is that it, or is there anybody else?
No, there's one more gentleman, Forrest Dassow, Dassow. And Mr. Dassow did submit the registration that he updated, and I had a copy of that for you in the file that you're not able to access. So.
Mr. Dasso?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is Judge Matt Rotham in Stoughton Municipal Court. So you were cited for non-registration of auto.
Yes,
Is that
Your Honor.
correct?
Yep.
And is your address the same as on the citation?
Yes, should be 1603 Burton Street, Beloit, Wisconsin.
Okay, what happens is we're going live right now, so I always, if somebody wants to give me an address, I always let them do that. For non-registration, so you got the citation and then you updated your car very soon after?
Yes, yep,
And now it is fully registered?
yes.
And
It should be good until next year.
Okay, and then you submitted that to the court as well?
Yes, I emailed, I believe she was your assistant, Mary,
Yeah, she's here in
this
the court.
afternoon with that documentation.
Okay, good. What I'll do, I'll take a look at it, and unless it appears strange later, and I'll call another hearing. Based upon the email, our conversations, and the fact you emailed it and took care of it right away, the court on its own motion is going to dismiss the citation.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
So obviously dismissal, you won't owe anything and won't be fine. I'll take a look at it, but I'm sure that it's in order. And with the dismissal, that will take care of the citation.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Any questions for the court?
None at this time. Nope.
Okay, that will take care of it for this evening. You can go ahead and hang up.
All righty. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dasso. Okay,
That's it.
that's it. All right. I need the password, so I think I'm going to ring off. Can I call you and then talk to John? Would that work?
Wait, he's coming down.
You're all done, right?
Well, we're still live.
Oh.
Um,
Try that folder again, Your Honor.
You said
what?
you should try it again.
Oh. Okay. Just let me try since he is here.
Hmm.
All right.
Everything.
Mary's still there.
What was the password you gave him for?
On the word, it would be asking for the password.
You gave him something.
Oh, that was the initial.
Oh, log in. But now
Yeah, it's still asking me for my password.
see how
let me-
in if you didn't use the new password. But,
Let me ring off and I'll call you.
Okay.
Let me sign off of Zoom
Okay.
and then I'll get the password and I'll sign back on. All right. I'm gonna leave. I will call you in a few minutes. All right, we're back on. Sorry, I was running a little late to start with, and that password box came up, and I bypassed the password, but was able to. I had some trouble with review. I couldn't open the reports. It's a new password, so.
Okay.
All right, let me zoom. All right. Okay, what I'm gonna do first, Mary, is I'm just gonna make sure the ones that I checked tonight, I have a basis for all of them.
Okay.
Okay. Looking at Mr. Dasso, he submitted March 4th. He got it. Okay, that's within enough time. I will, the dismissal was fine. All right. Now, next one is Linda Hang. Well, we've got a minute. Do you know that Dane County is actually open again, their courthouse?
No, they haven't. See, the clerks have been asking because the Supreme Court hasn't come out with any updates on anything,
So I have a trial next week before the judge, and the judge actually gave us the option of appearing in person or by Zoom. And we just all picked Zoom, I think, because my witnesses were more comfortable with that.
yeah,
But
I bet.
and the problem was if somebody else is, if somebody is Zoom and you're in person, they're having technical difficulties. You actually have to wear a headset.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
better off just having a Zoom in your car.
Yeah, that does make
in your
sense.
office.
And everyone is waiting for some guidance from the Supreme Court on how, because of the mask mandate being
Right.
taken away.
Okay. Okay. So Miss Hang. All right. All right. So Miss Hang, I will pull that. I actually probably gave her a little bit of a break. Officer gave her a break too. It's all right. And check the final speeding for Miss Wade. Sorry for taking a little extra, but I suppose
That's
that we haven't had
okay.
court for a while.
And Justin Stewart also. for
Right.
The OWI.
Oh, wait, let me read her report.
Yeah, it's just that little narrative at the end of the.
Yep, I saw that. I did see
Okay.
that. So, okay. Yeah, thank you. That helped. And then let me check. Mr. Stewart. I even remember to print out the most recent initial appearance listing today, so. All right. Mr. Stewart. Ooh, well, they changed the font of the police reports. Shows you how long it's been since I've read one of these. OWI, okay. Okay, I do find that there's sufficient evidence for Justin Stewart as well. So, okay, good. Now, let's go through the rest of the initial appearances. All right. First choice to be Constant Akele, default judgment. Helen Ascoli, default judgment on both citations. Alex Baker, a guilty plea received. Was there an explanation along with it?
No, that's, yeah.
Okay. I'll accept the guilty plea and find the defendant guilty. Face him on the citation. All right, let me get back up to where I need to be. All right. Guilty. Ryan Barfnick is a bond forfeiture. Gregory Bauman is a bond forfeiture. Taylor Biddick is a default judgment on the disorderly conduct, and then a bond forfeiture on the THC citation. Red Dual LaShawn Lewis Brown is a default judgment. Steve Chrisman is a default judgment. Rebecca Deal is a bond forfeiture. Corian Donaldson is a default judgment on both citations. Cale Drierson is a default judgment on both citations. Bryn Erickson is a bond forfeiture. Jeremy Erickson is a default judgment on both citations. Did I just do Jeremy Erickson? Oh, 3 citations.
Three.
Glenda Evans is a default judgment. Terry Fleming, just a no contest plea.
Yeah, no.
Yep, accept no contest plea, find the defendant guilty, and hold the restitution hearing in reserve if needed. All right, Brian Funk is a default judgment. Liliana Gallegos is a bond forfeiture. Maria Gallegos is a default judgment. Stephen Ganser is a bond forfeiture. Kelly Grittenholm is a default judgment. Garrett Gunderson received a no contest plea, accept the no contest plea and find the defendant guilty of both citations. Linda Hang, excuse me, we just resolved. Just a second, I think there's some plea sheets coming up. Yes, there are. All right, Antoine Avante Howard is a default judgment. Joshua Jackson is a default judgment. Norlisha Jackson is a default judgment. William Jensen is a default judgment. All right, I have a Jeffrey Jakinski.
No, he entered a not guilty plea, so he's
Are
not.
those 2 plea sheets?
No, he's not on the docket. He shouldn't be.
He's not on the docket. He's on my reports, and so
Yeah,
okay.
just
He's entered a
notes,
not guilty plea.
Right, so you
Okay,
don't need
we'll
to-
enter not guilty plea then. Okay. Samuel Johnson is a default judgment. Anthony Jones is a default judgment. Mark Jones is a default judgment. Wesley Lloyd Edward Jordan Buskager is a default judgment
Two.
on both citations. I don't want to read that name a second time.
No.
All right, just because it's so long. Daniel Juderjohn is a bond forfeiture. Julica Kelly is a bond forfeiture. Brandon Klein is a default judgment. Scott Klimek is a default judgment. Samuel Klug is a default judgment. Christine Kotlowski is a bond forfeiture. Brendan Leivik is a bond forfeiture. Thomas Marsh is a bond forfeiture. Zachary James Martin is a bond forfeiture for all 3 citations. Nicholas Maurer is a default judgment. Nicole McClure is a default judgment. Olivia McDaniels is a default judgment. Henry McMaring, see plea sheet.
He paid, but I've been working with him and his mom. They're looking for a reduction in points.
Oh yeah. Speeding's 20 to 24. How old is he?
He's 17.
17. Is this his first?
No.
One was his prior speeding citation.
uh, did they include that with the report?
No.
See, I looked it up online. Yeah, I don't, they're just not. These
Let me see the
police
police
reports are really incomplete. I have to
That's okay. That's okay.
talk to
We'll
them.
take a look at the police sheet.
Yeah,
I mean, if what happens is I'm gonna reduce this from 6 to 4 points. It's still, he still might lose his driver's license, still might get suspended.
right. And I did talk to them about that. And I said, let me know how you would like to proceed. I said, generally, you're limited to reducing it to the next lowest 10 miles per hour difference. And that would be 4 points. And I didn't hear back from them. So I
Okay,
said, let me know if you want to enter a not guilty
Yeah,
plea to
I will
two-
enter no contest plea to
He-
11 and
he's
19 for
pleading.
4 points.
Oh, okay, all right, because he did enter guilty, so you're gonna change that to no contest.
Yep. Well, no,
And then-
he entered guilty plea. I'll find him guilty of 11 and 19 over 4 points
Okay.
instead. He kind of, he has mitigating factors in the plea sheet.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right.
Christopher Rashad Minner, default judgments. Behar Massini is a bond forfeiture. Amelia Mixe is a default judgment. Alex Monahan is default judgments. You see when the next plea sheet is coming up. Okay.
I had the Navarro, Aiden Navarro, but.
Oh, I'm not there yet. Amber Mountford is a default judgment.
Right, all I'm saying is you don't need to, all that she wrote is she's looking for a payment plan, so I'll take care of that. with
Okay.
her.
I'll accept the no contest plea, find her guilty. Every Ness is a default judgment on both citations. Kyle Wynn, I believe you pronounce it that way, is a default judgment. Lucinda Ojeda is a bond forfeiture. Veronica Oric is a default judgment. Ricardo Antonio Pagan Rivera.
Yeah, he was planning on appearing. He said he was going to present his renewed driver's license and the new license plates for the car in question.
You know what? I'm gonna enter a not guilty plea for him.
Okay. So we'll get that scheduled for a pretrial.
Yep.
All right.
Next will be Jake Pagoaga is a bond forfeiture. Rosario Petrinos is a bond forfeiture. Michael Percy is a bond forfeiture. Eckerd Peters is a bond forfeiture. Miranda Peterson is a no contest plea. See plea sheet. And she submitted a copy of the plea sheet.
She's saying no contest, but on the second page, she
Yeah, I
has
see it.
an explanation.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
enter not guilty plea. I'll give her the option of appearing in front of for the prosecutor. It's kind of it's a no contest plea, but it's basically a not guilty plea.
okay.
That's really high quality copies, prints, pictures, you
She
know.
took a picture with her phone.
I know, but it's really good.
I had to send it to our IT department to have that put into format so you could read it. It was a mess.
That's why. I knew
Yes.
it looked better than a normal cell phone photo.
Yeah, yeah.
Daniel Pinchon Sanchez is a default judgment. Sophia Christina Pongratz is a bond forfeiture. Erica Quincy is a default judgment.
Okay. This next one is the refusal that we were never notified by the police department, which I need to talk to you when we're done with this, because we have another one that we were not notified, and technically it's state law, they're supposed to notify us the next day. So anyway, we'll talk about that after.
Well,
This
I
is-
think if they
yeah.
don't notify us and they're required to, let me see what the citations are for. I'll find a defendant in default under the, for an OWI and for the speeding, but court will find that since the proper procedures were not followed for the refusal, that the defendant did not get proper notice and there is no refusal.
But he did. He received proper notice.
So he received it, but the court
Right, we
didn't.
did not, right? So he still received that notice of revocation.
You know what? And
He did
the,
not respond to
okay,
it.
the court has held, the Wisconsin case law has held that when there a refusal notice is given to the defendant and the defendant does not respond within 10 days, the court loses, the Stoughton Municipal Court would lose jurisdiction over whether to hear a refusal or not. Since it doesn't have a refusal according to the case law, I have to find that he's legally refused to citate the offer to provide breath or blood, and because of that, I have to revoke him for a year.
Right, and an IID.
Correct.
Okay,
So assess the $50 surcharge on the IID as well.
and revoke for 12 months.
Yes.
Okay. He didn't respond to a plea sheet either, I sent him all the information.
Okay.
So,
Ready?
yes,
Paul Ryeff is a default judgment. Brandon Rosman is a default judgment. Graham Ross is a default judgment. Nathan Rupp is a bond forfeiture. Adelita Salinas is a default judgment on on all three citations. Sandra Skomanas is a bond forfeiture. Chad Strutzel is a default judgment. I'll note for the record that I actually have a case with Mr. Strutzel last month, but that has been resolved.
okay.
So I don't think it would be a conflict for me to default him then. Okay. Michael Sullivan, a plea sheet.
He's basically just apologizing for it, so I don't know if you need to read it.
All right. You know what? If they respond, Mary, I'll give them a 10-mile-an-hour leeway.
It's a
Oh, a dog?
dog.
Never
yeah.
mind.
And he's basically just apologizing to you.
Okay. There's
Right.
nothing I can do about that. I'll accept the
Right.
no contest plea and find the defendant guilty. Okay. Amanda Swenson is a default judgment. Courtney Swenson is a default judgment, both citations. Wade Allen Swenson Voice is a default judgment on both citations.
3.
Three citations. Jonathan Jose Torres Sanchez is a bond forfeiture. James Tolley is a default judgment. Chase Trayfield is a default judgment. Olivia Turner is a default judgment on both citations. 3 citations, excuse me. Brian Kent Van Horn is a bond forfeiture. Parkus Timothy Waterbury is a default judgment. Okay. All right, let me click out of this. Sorry about the delay. Now I've got the password. I don't think I got it before, so,
Okay.
but John gave me a shortcut, so hopefully I'll be able to use it.
Whoops. Oh,
I'm just seeing this was a free session sponsored by TeamViewer, free of charge for personal use. We thank you for playing fair.
Oh, you can, that's for John when he was viewing your screens.
Okay. Oh, what did you want to talk to me about for refusal? Should we go off or?
Yeah, we should go off. I can actually, why don't you, like if you want to call tomorrow or something, just to figure out, how long we're gonna, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, let me call you. For some reason, I couldn't get through to you on my cell phone, so I'll call you from my house phone.
Okay, yeah, I had it shut off for court.
Oh, that's why. I'll try on the cell phone then.